Yeah, man. Welcome to the Yotas 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 podcast, where we talk about everything Toyota.
See what we can find out about this Japanese truck.
Adventure stories.
Lance got the fucking COVID, so fuck.
No. Yeah, I'm cooking your food with COVID.
Rigs.
I'm accessorizing on the trail. Or some shit came loose, I'm just trying to tighten it.
Anything that has the T on it, we love it.
That's what happens when you buy a big truck. You gotta fucking get in there and keep her happy, you know what I'm saying? Can't be fucking around. You gotta get your whole body in there.
I hope you enjoy, because we enjoy bringing it to you. We're your hosts, Captain Berg and Captain Lance, and welcome aboard. Hello, everybody. This is Captain Berg and Captain Lance, and welcome to the Yotas 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 podcast. I'll let Lance introduce our very next guest.
All right, hey everybody, it's Captain Lance here. We have a special guest, Jamie from Lady Owned Toyotas. Hi, Jamie.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. How's it going?
It's going good for Monday.
Excellent. Glad to hear that. So we wanted to have you on the podcast because, we're all of us are Toyota enthusiasts, and you're pretty prevalent on Instagram for lady-owned Toyotas. So you just want to talk to us about how it got started?
Yeah, so almost 3 years ago, I started an Instagram page just so that I could meet women in Washington who like to go out and explore. So I started this Instagram page called Lady Owned Toyotas, not realizing that there was a need for a women's group in the Toyota community. Within a month of being on Instagram, we had 700 followers. Now, fast forward to 3 years later, we are nationwide and international. We have over 20,000 members and growing. So it turned into something really big that I never imagined to happen.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And I'm assuming it just got way bigger than you ever had anticipated.
Oh yeah, like I said, I just wanted to make new friends in Washington, and here I am today. I'm traveling all over the place. I actually just met Jason down at the Overland No, it wasn't Overland Expo. I'm sorry. It was the cleanup.
Yeah, keep our deserts clean.
Yes, keep our deserts clean in Arizona. Yeah.
That was a really cool event, actually. I think you had mentioned then when we were there that was right after you had just sent out your first international order, and you were pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, we had just sent our first order over to Europe. I can't remember where, but I was very excited about that.
That's amazing. It's so crazy that you're basically, touching the world. And it's awesome that you started this pretty big movement and just a support community for women who love to off-road. Like you said, there was nothing really out there, and you kind of got it started off, and I'm sure you've inspired other people to kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more women groups out there, which is really nice. And we encourage it, and it's nice to see little chapters also in different states. Lady Owned Toyotas is not just Washington based anymore. It's all over the U.S., international now.
Now, I met some of the ladies that are part of the Arizona chapter, correct? Here, when you came down and we did the desert cleanup deal?
Correct. So our Arizona crew is number 2 out of the whole group. They have the most members. They're just under 200 members in Arizona. And then Texas, San Antonio specifically is number 1. Yeah, so we're growing at a fast speed. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Do you anticipate it, or has it already become your full-time gig now?
Oh, no, I work a full-time job. I work full-time in the health industry. So this was never supposed to turn into a business for me. That was never my intention. I would say about 6 or 7 months in, people started asking for decals so that they could represent us. And then it turned into clothing and other items. So I would say about 3 times a week I'm working on orders, but I'm pushing out 100 orders almost every time I'm shipping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have help?
I now have our decal vendor who is processing decals on her own and shipping out directly. And then our new clothing vendor as well is shipping directly. So my hands are basically shipping out lanyards, key tags, stickers, patches, all the really small stuff.
Very nice. So, I would like to ask you about when you became a Toyota loyalist and enthusiast yourself.
I would have to say that was when I bought my truck in 2017. I was a new single mom, first year in my career job. I promised myself in my first year when I got my tax return from my job that I would get myself and my kids a good, reliable car. So I was looking at a 2017 Toyota 4Runner. Unfortunately, I couldn't make a deal with the dealership, so I walked out. But as I walked out, somebody had just got done test driving this 2013 Toyota Tacoma. And I just stopped dead in my tracks, and I looked at this truck, and I'm like, this is my truck. And sure enough, the couple that was test driving it decided to walk away, and I made a deal, and here I am 5 years later, with the 2013 Toyota Tacoma.
Nice. And now that's Bella Blue Taco?
It is. That's my girl.
That's your girl.
Yep.
And so how long did it take before you started to dump money into it?
You know what's funny is within the first year that I bought her, I upgraded my wheels and my tires. And a couple days later, I had a gentleman approach me and ask me if I had an Instagram for my truck. And I'm like, what? Why would I have an Instagram for my truck? And he's like, there's a huge community for Toyota enthusiasts on Instagram. You need to check it out. And that was the black hole for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say, so I've had her 5 years. So over the last 3 years, she's turned into what she is today.
Mm-hmm. And she's a beauty.
Yeah, it takes time. Like, people think this happens overnight, and it doesn't. This stuff is expensive. Upgrades are expensive.
Right?
Yeah.
So Lance is a brand new Tundra owner. He went from his 2016 Tacoma, which I met him with, and is now in a Tundra.
Is it the new 22?
No, I'm in a 2020 Tundra.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really became a Toyota loyalist, a long time ago with my first Toyota pickup truck that I used as a work truck, and it just was bulletproof for me. And then over the years, I've had multiple different Toyotas, and right now I'm in that 2020 Tundra. But my real kind of where I started dumping a lot of money in it, becoming kind of like an off-road enthusiast, was with the 2016 Tacoma that I bought in 2016. And it's kind of been over from there. I met Jason here, Captain Berg, at a Tacoma World off-road meetup at Cleghorn, and we did a run the very next day at B Canyon, and that back-to-back trip kind of just solidified that we were going to become friends, and it's been history ever since. We've been doing tons of trips, Joshua Tree, Sedona. We've kind of been all over the place, and over some time, me, him, and another guy named Jason, we just started. We're like, let's do something with this enthusiast, and we started Yotas Yotas Yotas, and here we are venturing off, trying to put this podcast together and getting the word out, and trying to support other local people, other enthusiasts such as yourself, and and hopefully we can both help each other gain some traction in this community.
Isn't it crazy how social media works and it brings in people into your life that you never expected to meet?
Yeah.
Like that's the number one thing I get from women in our group is I would have never made this friendship if it wasn't for Lady Owned Toyotas. And it makes me feel good, that this group is bringing happiness to people and bringing the community together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not even just the connections that you can make for yourself. It's the other connections that people are making. And, it's, you're out there, you buy a Toyota and you're like, oh, you see other people doing stuff and you're like, oh, how do I get involved? And how do I get to know more people? And how do I get all this knowledge? And they find a community and it brings them in and then they become the enthusiasts and it just keeps growing. And like you said, like Lady Own is just exploded, it seems like, and which is amazing. It's like, this is way more than I ever anticipated. And I'm taking on more than I could possibly even handle, but it's also amazing at the same time.
Yep.
Isn't there a post, if I remember correctly, isn't there a couple that actually met at one of your events and then they ended up getting married?
Yeah, there's a couple we actually have a couple of them, but the first one is from Arizona. God, I'm sorry, I cannot remember their name, but they met through Lady Owned Toyotas and ended up getting married. And then I do know a couple other couples out there in other states that have met because of Lady Owned Toyotas.
And are now
That's
married.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're engaged or getting married, have had a kid already.
That's so awesome.
I know.
I have a 2-year-old daughter, and she doesn't quite understand what Toyotas are. I mean, she does know that that's Daddy's truck, but I am highly anticipating that she will. I mean, she can do whatever she wants. Obviously, if the girl wants to drive a Chevy, I'll let her drive a Chevy. But Daddy hopes that one day she will want to have a Toyota of her own, and she can become the captain of her own special Toyota ship. And I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm so happy that there's a group out there like Lady Owned Toyotas that supports women and them wanting to be adventurous and do those things. I mean, it's so rad. And as I see her grow up, I'm thinking, oh, she's going to be a Lady Owned Toyota one day.
We have a lot of little influencers, like my daughter, like she's our biggest fan. She gets so mad at me if I go to an event or I go off-roading without her. And she sees pictures later on. She's like, "Are you serious, Mom?"
Gosh, Mom.
I've had a couple members reach out to me too and ask me to start offering kids clothing. And it's so cute to see girls and their moms with matching clothing,
right?
And representing us. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, definitely being able to get the young ones involved and inspired and, supporting their parents. So you said that you guys have kind of like sub chapters. Is that kind of like an informal thing or is that something that's formal?
Basically, we have ambassadors in every state that put on events, gatherings for the group. We're not a club. We're just a social group. So we don't operate like clubs. We don't really have set rules. We have guidelines and expectations. Being an ambassador, you don't have to host an event, but it is recommended because our members do want to get together and meet each other.
That's very cool. I would think that, if you want to be an ambassador, that you kind of would want to kind of do that thing and host an event and get people together and do all that. But that's pretty awesome. How did that happen? Did it just kind of happen organically where somebody from like, let's say Texas, for example, just saw that and was just like, hey, I want to put something together?
It's been so long. I want to say yes. It's just we grew so quick and people were wanting to meet other people in their states. So I was like, okay, you want to be an ambassador and represent us in your area, promote us? And
they were like, oh, hell yes.
Yeah. And being able to grow the way that we are, our ambassadors now have a bigger discount for clothing and merchandise.
Okay.
So it's not a job for them, but there is an incentive for them.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an amazing idea. Cause just give them a discount, and they're kind of doing some of the legwork by spreading the word about this cool social group, and kind of running it from there.
Man, I kind of like that. I kind of had a little in one of our previous episodes of our podcast. I kind of was thinking about having an incentive, and I thought, what might be a good idea is for you to go back and listen to the whole episode and count how many times I said the fuck word, and then I'll give you a free t-shirt. That's kind of like an incentive to listen to the whole podcast all the way through. How many times did Jason say the F word? And since then, I certainly, I can start to tell stories, and the next thing you know, it'll be, well, fucking fuck. And so I have a little sign here, and it says, I am focused on less F-bombs, but incentive-based, I think, is a great way to go. So maybe we should start a Yotas F-bomb club, and if anybody wants to be an F-bomb ambassador, please like and subscribe and leave a comment and let us know. And also, please follow Lady Owned Toyotas as well.
I love it.
I wanted to ask you how people could find you on all of the socials.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook. We have our Facebook page, which is public, and then we have a private Facebook group specifically for women. There are a couple guys in there, but they're more big enthusiasts in the Toyota community. They own businesses, well-known businesses. They're not people that are going to put women down.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're on Instagram, and then we do have a TikTok account. I'm not so great at posting on the TikTok. And then we also have our website, ladyownedtoyotas.com.
And how do people contact you to become an ambassador? Is that through the website or just like a DM on the social media?
There's an application now on our website. It's under the home tab, and it'll say ambassador application. It's a lot. There is a lot of videos you have to watch. Tread lightly is one of our biggest questions on there. We're very big on tread lightly, cleaning up, making sure that you're following the rules out there, staying on the trail.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal for a lot of us. I know that I learned about that really when I joined Tacoma World. Are you on Tacoma World at all, or know about that?
I know about it, and I have used it a few times, the forums, when I had questions about my second gen. Like recently with my second gen, I had the secondary air intake malfunction, which I found out is common. I found out through Tacoma World.
Yeah.
So I don't use it a lot, but I have used it in the past for references.
For sure. That's I mean, we're not here to support or promote them in any particular way, other than it's a forum that I've used, personally, and had a good experience. I mean, that's how I got hooked into building my truck, was through, kind of like you said, you met somebody on Instagram, and then that kind of led to just, this, that, and the other thing, and then the emptying of the wallet. And that's exactly what happened for me on Tacoma World. There was a big meet, and it was kind of like, hey, we're having this big meet. I met a couple of guys that kind of, and I was very new to off-roading, hadn't done very much to my truck, some wheels and tires, kind of like you, maybe a little lift. And so they kind of were like, yeah, well, if you want to come out with us, man, and we'll look after you and kind of show you the ropes. And took this trip to a big, huge, like 60 rig meet. I mean, someone brought a projector and a movie screen out to the desert, and we watched trimmers and we ran trails, and I absolutely fell in love with off-roading and the Toyota community. And I knew, like, hey, this is a place for me where I belong. And I feel like that's a very similar thing to how the ladies feel about your group, and that's really awesome.
Yes. Yep. it's a safe zone for us. Because that's one thing I hear so much from the women is when they post in the co-ed groups, the guys they're not nice. And so they come to our group and they say they don't feel stupid about posting. They're not questioning what they're posting. They're asking for advice and they're not being put down for it.
Right. That really sucks about a lot of dudes. I've always had this feeling where anybody that wants to get involved in a Toyota, wants to get behind the wheel, wants to learn how to drive, wants to learn how to do work on their truck, maybe themselves. I don't care if you're a guy, a girl, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, if you love Toyota, I love you. That's kind of how I feel.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, there can be some rude people on there, and they're rude to everybody.
Yeah.
But definitely offering a safe space for people is awesome, and that's great that you've been able to provide that for them, and like really blow this thing up, and really keep women enthusiastic about something that's very cool. And then just it's kind of like having a community too. Just having a community is super nice.
Yeah, I agree. Like, for instance, when I met Jason at Keep Our Desert Clean, we're really big on working with that organization and helping with cleanups. Michelle and the Arizona team do a great job with helping these nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, that was my first experience with that group and actually doing a cleanup like that. And I forget the guy's name who drives that. He's got that badass Tacoma with the solid axle swap. I think it's his baby, right? Keep Our Deserts Clean.
Correct.
Yeah, he seemed like a really cool guy, and I was really hyped on just the way he handled it and got up there and took the mic, and they gave out the gift bags and all the supporters and just all the trash that we cleaned up. I mean, they brought that damn boat, threw a boat in that thing. Like, that was really cool.
I could not believe that when I saw them dragging that through. I was like, what? You guys found a boat out there?
Yeah, a boat in the middle of the desert. A boat.
Yeah.
And not a Toyota boat, not a boat like Lance drives, but I mean like an actual fucking speedboat. There's an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool event.
Jason, I got to give you a shout out because you stood out to me at that event when you came and you seeked me out and you introduced yourself as running Yotas Yotas Yotas. And what stood out was you complimented me on my personal messages when I send out packages and the free stuff I give away as well. A lot of people think I'm in it for the money, but I'm not. I give away so much free merchandise in orders. I give out wristbands, usually little heart decals and some lot spotted cards. And the fact that you came up and you complimented me on it made me feel really good in that I am making a difference here.
I'm so glad because I actually felt really happy about that when I saw, because one of the things that I mean, there are several companies out there that do these things. Like, they have these big packages and they're really beautiful, and they have their logos on them. And I know that they're big companies and stuff, and they make, I mean, they're for profit and they're companies and that's their business, But I thought when I got your package, you took the time to actually handwrite, "Thank you for supporting us." And I thought, well, that's something. Because, like you said, we're not in it for the money, or it's not a business, but it's personal. You made it personal, and I thought that was really, I felt special. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, she took the time to write down, and I thought that was such a personal touch. And the funny thing is the little heart decal I actually have on my iPod, my AirPod charging case, my earbuds. I have the little Toyota thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just thought that was really cool, and I had to just say, hey, that's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's super awesome. And honestly, I didn't know how you guys met, or I think Jason might have told me, but I might have forgotten. But but it's cool that you guys are really big and keeping the trails clean, building communities. Like, it all sounds like really, really inspiring. And so, yeah, hats off to you to being able to do this and still have a full-time job and, trying to make this thing, grow, while still, being a mom and working and doing all that. So it's super commendable.
It's extremely hard. Like, people ask me, how do you do this? And I'm like, I don't. That's the thing. Like, I don't know how I do it.
I feel like it's a love kind of thing. I love the community. I mean, that was honestly, that was the whole thing for us with Yotas Yotas Yotas, was just, I love the Toyota community. Yep. I love Toyota as a product. It's a great truck. It's a great vehicle. I stand by it. I will continue to stand by it. But it was really the community that really kind of, like, I'll always drive a Toyota, but the community is what made me feel love. And I just felt this. So I'm a skateboarder as well. Like, I ride a skateboard, and I get that feeling from the Toyota community that I get from skateboarding. Like, it's a place where I belong. It's not somewhere where I have to try to fit in or try to do, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes we try to fit in, and I just felt that home there, and ended up meeting people like Lance, who I imagine Lance and I are going to be friends until we're old men, and I can't ride a skateboard anymore, but we can still drive these damn trucks. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's how we do what we do. I mean, that's why we're here on this podcast right now talking to you, because we love the community. We want to be a part of that community. We want to share the light of the community and just share that love.
Yep.
100%. So let's talk about Bella. What have you done to Bella?
Oh, God, I've done so much to Bella.
Is there something recent that you've done that you're really stoked on?
The fact that I finally got her back after almost 4 months.
Oh, that's right. I do remember something about that. What happened? Do you want to talk about it? I mean, we don't want you to relive any trauma.
She was down for almost 4 months. We were chasing a problem, and finally I was like, I'm done. Take her to Toyota. Let's get this taken care of. I need my truck back.
Yeah.
Well, it was the secondary air intake system. It malfunctioned. The valve seized. We had put a delete kit on it, which didn't help. So we took it to Toyota. Toyota replaced the valves. I got it back, drove her around for 2 weeks, and then the valves seized again. Luckily, it was warranted because Toyota did it.
Yeah.
So I took it back to them. Sure enough, the lights were on. It was running the codes, and they're like, okay, the technician that did the work is not here today. We want to talk to him. He comes in tomorrow. They didn't want to touch her until they talked to him. So he comes in the next day. They pull her into the bay, and all the lights are off.
Just dead.
And so I laughed, and I said, she just missed you guys. She just wanted to come see you.
Uh-huh.
And so I got her back, and the next day the check engine light came on again. This time it was my fuel pump.
One thing sort of led into another, huh?
Well, it's because I've just put her through so much hell in the last 3 years.
Right.
So I bought her at, I want to say 60,000 miles, and I'm sitting at 190,000.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a lot of fun miles, I'm sure.
Yeah. I have decided finally, I was going back and forth between long travel,
you're going to get
and
a
straight axle.
Oh,
Huh?
I was just going to say, you're going to get a Tundra, Lance?
Well, so I was going between long travel for the Tacoma and straight axle. We decided that I'm going to go ahead and do long travel on the Tacoma.
Ooh, fun.
It's going to cost some money, but I'll start saving. And I do have a 2018 Toyota Tundra.
Aha. There you go. You are, Lance, get on in there.
I was going to ask you if you had any other Toyota vehicles, so there we go. How do you like the Tundra?
I like it. I'm not in love with it. It's 2-wheel drive, but Bella was breaking down so much. I needed something that was more reliable. I am in love with this new Sequoia that's coming out. And I have a feeling I'm going to be trading in this Tundra for the new Sequoia when it comes out.
Very nice.
I actually, Lance, our other buddy, he's the third Yoda. Yotas, Yotas, and Yoda is our friend Jason, other Jason. And JV was talking about the new Sequoia. And I don't know very much about it other than the one thing that I asked him if he knew was, because I know that most of them have four-wheel independent suspension, and according to him, this new one is going to have a solid rear axle. And I thought, if that's the case, it might be an off-road beast.
Yeah, it'll pretty much be a Tundra with extra seats.
Yep.
Usually they're very close in build. Other than it being like an independent rear suspension in the past, if it has a solid rear axle, yeah, it's going to be super cool.
They haven't released a lot of information on it. I like the body style, and interior is a big thing for me as well. So the Tundra is basically my mom's vehicle. My mom lives with me. She takes care of my kids. She drives my kids to and from school. So the Sequoia will definitely help her as well, getting my kids to and from school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And just for our sake and something that I like to keep track of, the Sequoias are made here in the great old United States of America, which is something that I am really happy about as well.
Yes.
Do you know if your truck is an American-made truck? I don't know if it was here or it could be Mexico.
I think it came from Texas. It is a TSS model.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if those were manufactured in San Antonio, but they are, because of the vehicle shortage out here in the Pacific Northwest, they are bringing up a lot of those TSS models from Texas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lance and I were just talking about that recently. His truck all the Tundras are made in San Antonio. My truck, I have a 2006 Tacoma, and she was made in California before the California plant moved to Tijuana. But I think as of 2021, now all of the Tacomas are now made in Mexico.
Very nice. So going back to Bella, how did you come up with that name for your truck?
I don't know why. Every time I look at her, I think of Bella from Beauty and the Beast. I think of her blue dress.
Oh,
Nice.
And I'm talking the old school Beauty and the Beast, not the new upgraded Beauty and the Beast.
The old the Disney cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why. Every time I look at my truck, I see her dress. I don't know why, but I do.
Well, now every time I see you post, I'm going to be thinking about that.
yeah.
Thinking about Bella the Beauty.
It's always fun to find like why people name their trucks or their vehicles what they name them,
Right.
And you kind of like, oh, I wonder, did they just like the name, or maybe just they thought about, you saw the blue and it reminded you of a blue on a Disney cartoon, and it was like, oh, I'll name her Bella.
Nice.
Yeah. My daughter named my Tundra Twisted Sister for Bella's sister.
That is hilarious.
Twisted Sister. What was their big song? Is it We're Not Gonna Take It? Was that Twisted Sister?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the song. Well, I'm gonna have to look that up, and then if it is Twisted Sister, that might be a little background music that gets added later.
Okay, cool.
Well, that was that. I don't know. Do you remember that movie Iron Eagle? Either of you?
Yeah.
No.
Iron Eagle was the one where the kid's dad was an F-16 pilot, and he used to sneak him on and taught him how to fly F-16s, and then he got shot down overseas somewhere, and him and the guy Lou Gossett Jr. was the guy who was Jason Giedrick, and they stole a couple of F-16s and got the 16-year-old in there, and they went in to save his dad from the guys. where he got shot down, Iron Eagle. And in that movie, there's a song, "We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it." And I think that's Twisted Sister.
Yeah, it is because I just looked it up. Yeah, one of the popular songs is "We're Not Gonna Take It" and "I Wanna Rock." I think those two I know.
We're not gonna take it. I think we have a theme song.
So you said you're traveling a lot more. You're doing like trail cleanups, and you're doing you do like camping trips and stuff like that too.
I do with my friends, and especially like when I go to Oregon a lot and hang out with the Oregon crew. They do a lot more group activities, camping, off-roading, and whatnot. So,
what's your favorite camp spot?
I have a 360 lookout here in Washington that looks over Mount Rainier.
Ooh.
It's very beautiful.
Cool. That sounds cool.
I bet you there's a good spot to set the throne up.
Yep.
What about like some of your favorite trails to off-road at?
I am an addict to the sand dunes. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
That's part of the reason why I want to long travel my truck.
Oh yeah.
So I get better coverage.
I was gonna ask you when you said that you were still deciding before you had told us that you decided on long travel. I was just gonna ask you, well, what style of off-roading do you like to do? And that, a solid axle would be more of your rock crawling, and then like you said, long travel would be more like fast-paced desert stuff.
Yeah. The reason I steered away from straight axles because I do a lot of traveling. I drive a lot with my truck. And I can't do a cross-country trip from Washington to Indiana on a straight axle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough. So that was one of the big factors.
Tell that to the Yeep owners.
Yeah, that is a good choice. So keep more road manners with the long travel.
Right.
When do you plan on doing this? Is it just kind of you've just been thinking about it, like what's next?
That's my what's next.
Okay.
Now it's just trying to save up the money for it. My biggest issue right now is I got to get my cam tab gussets taken care of. My front alignment is really, really bad. I do have some total chaos cam tabs that I need to get done.
Oh yeah. What do you know what long travel system you want to go with? What brand?
I definitely want to go Total Chaos and Kings. That's what I'm looking at.
Oh yeah. What what suspension do you have on her now?
I have Icons.
Okay.
I originally had when I first started out, and I wanted something different. I went with a leveling kit, the Falcon Terraflex. It was a new suspension out for Tacomas. And Mule Expeditions, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. They're pretty well known in the Pacific Northwest. I went to them and they talked me into it, and I wheeled the hell out of that suspension.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have an issue with your Kings. I've ran Kings on multiple different trucks, and they've always been super solid and really nice quality. And that's what I'm going to end up putting on my Tundra too. So nice. I think, and Total Chaos makes phenomenal stuff. So I think, going with a Total Chaos kit and Kings is a very wise choice. What do you plan on doing with the rear end on it?
I haven't got that far yet.
Yeah.
I have we did the added leaf springs, the 2 added leaf springs on it when we went Icon, but I haven't done much to the rear end.
Okay, yeah, I know it's a lot because I dove into my Tundra suspension, and I'm gonna do a mid travel kit. I don't think I'm gonna do a long travel on my truck just quite yet. That might come, but as of right now, it's gonna stay mid travel. And then I just haven't decided what to do with the rear yet because I have the shell and I have a bed platform in the bed, and I like to sleep back there. So I gotta somehow maintain my bed so I can't have these long shocks coming up through the wheel wells and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I haven't decided. So I understand that. Like you first you kind of just figure out the front end, and then we'll go from there.
Yep.
Yeah, kings are the wallet breaker.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, you want to get some kings, or do you want to pay the mortgage? I mean,
yeah, the Kings and even Total Chaos is a pretty expensive brand, but both really good quality stuff, and definitely something that you have to like take some time and plan it out and save for it, kind of thing.
Right.
Yep. So I found this quote. I've been looking while I've been talking to you guys. There's this quote that I've came across, and it really hits me with running lady-owned Toyotas. And it says, "Never mock a beginner, especially when they're working hard to get better. When they ask stupid questions, just respond and patiently guide them. No need to mock, because chances are they really don't know what they want to do, and they trust that you can ask them for help."
Great quote.
I like that a lot, and it is true. As we become very knowledgeable in our hobbies and just our professions and everything, it sometimes can be annoying when there's someone new asking a lot of questions, but in fact, that person will probably be very successful because they're asking the questions they don't know, and you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly.
And so, and also too, you have to remember at some point you didn't know something and you had to ask the questions, and hopefully somebody was polite enough to you to just answer your questions and give you the knowledge. And there's always it's always a breath of fresh air when somebody is like super knowledgeable and super humble and nice about it and just shares their knowledge with you. And I think some people forget that. So it's definitely, that's a great quote, and that's a good kind of philosophy for lady-owned Toyotas to run off of.
My biggest thing is I love teaching people. I like it when people come up to me and ask me questions. So we're hosting a dunes takeover at Coos Bay in Oregon, and we have, I think, like 100 people coming out. We have over 50 campsites already reserved of our group. But I'm teaching 4 beginner classes, like 101 entry into off-roading on the sand.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about where you go to run sand dunes. Oregon. Do you have any in Washington?
We do. We have a couple. I just recently went to Jupiter Dunes, which is out in Kennewick, Washington. It's closer to the Idaho border.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's still about 2 to 4 hour drives for me. This Coos Bay drive is 6 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've heard about the Oregon dunes. I think they're pretty iconic. I haven't been out there yet, but that's definitely sounds like something cool. When are you hosting this event?
So the Coos Bay Dunes takeover is May 13th through the 15th. We got people coming from Utah, California, Idaho. There's people traveling in for it.
I think when I was a kid, I think I've been to those dunes in Oregon. It's like, if I remember, it's like pine forest all the way up, and then all of a sudden it's dunes on the beach. Is that right?
I believe so. I've been to 3 different dunes in Oregon.
Yeah. I remember being a kid. When I was a kid, we drove Highway 1 from Seattle back to California, and we stopped in Oregon at these sand dunes. I can't remember the name of the beach, but I just remember that we got on this bus that was this huge lifted bus. They did these tours, and the top was cropped off and had a roll cage, and they would take you out there. And so you were in like the pine forest, and we get on this bus, and then the trees start to grow out of sand, starts to turn into sand slowly, and then the tree line breaks, and you're on a beach that is just, from the tree line to the beach is a couple of miles of nothing but sand dunes. And we're on this huge bus, and it was an amazing, as a kid, I'll never forget that. The pine trees turned into a sand dune beach, and I thought, what an amazing place.
Now that you're talking about that, I believe it is Coos Bay because you're driving down 101 and it's nothing but trees. And the next thing you're seeing all these sand dunes along 101.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So while we're kind of talking about some of your events, and given that you guys are your lady-owned Toyotas now, are all of your events open to all genders, or is it mostly just for the ladies?
No, all of our events are family friendly for the most part. We'll list if kids aren't allowed. And then it doesn't have to just be Toyotas. Like we have Jeeps that constantly come out to our events.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a lot of males that come out and they love to wheel with us because we're not mean. We don't bicker. We actually communicate with each other. And the guys, they enjoy themselves coming out.
It sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think, we call ourselves Yotas, 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 but we're still, very open to all different vehicle models. It's more of just like and people who are enthusiastic about like camping, off-roading, getting together, telling campfire stories and stuff like that. If you're a good human being, we're happy no matter what you drive, no matter what gender you are, like everybody come out and just have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you show up in a Jeep, I'm going to pick on you, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to go wheel and have a great time, And I would expect nothing less from the Jeepers, the Yeepers to pick on me, So
I gotta tell you guys, we do have a couple Jeepers that run our stripes and they run our decals.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we do have decals that say, lady-owned Toyotas. It has our logos, and then it'll say supporter on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And that was a big request from our male supporters.
I think that might be what I got. I might have just got the lady-owned Toyota patch. I can't recall if I got the one that says supporter or not. I don't remember.
Yeah. We just started offering it maybe 2 months ago.
Oh, okay. Then I don't. I just have lady-owned Toyotas. It's up on I put it up on the ceiling of the rig. So
there you go.
Yep. And speaking of two-wheel drive, I'm a two-wheel drive. Why are you shaming me?
It's good on the gas mileage. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's funny because when I bought the truck, I thought that if I bought the pre-runner, I thought I would save on insurance or whatever. But to be honest with you, there is no when the insurance looks at a pre-runner and a four-wheel drive, I don't think they really differentiate. If it was a regular cab, like a regular street truck two-wheel drive, then it might be something different. But and it's funny, once I got the truck and then I fell in love with off-roading, I was like, God, I knew better than I should have just bought a four-wheel drive. But I've learned how to drive it. My truck has the differential locker, the e-locker, so that thing gets me to a lot of places. And to be honest with you, I've learned how to drive it, and it's actually really fun. And Lance talks about that a lot. He's like, dude, you're going to be bored in a four-wheel drive, man. You're going to have as fun.
You're not going to have the challenge.
Right?
Yep. I tell them that all the time.
That's one thing that I don't have in my Tacoma. I don't have lockers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. I remember Lance's Tacoma as well. He didn't buy it with the factory locker. He ended up put an air locker in the rear. And a couple of times we went out on some trips and he was like, you know what? I'm just going to run the locker in the rear and then run it like you run it and see how that feels. And he's like, that's actually pretty cool. It's surprising how well the truck does in two-wheel drive with the locker. I think he was pretty surprised.
Yeah, definitely. The two-wheel drive with the locker goes a long way. It's still got to get used to it. It's different, but it'll do it for sure.
Are putting lockers on your rig something you want to consider at some point?
So I put in a pretty big order with Nitro Gear last March. I'm still waiting on my gears, my lockers, my air compressor.
Okay.
It sounds like we're waiting on my rear locker from ARB, but everything else is in. So it's in the works, but now everything's just kind of been put on hold because now I don't have the money for labor because of Bella breaking down and having to go to Toyota. I pretty much tapped out of my funds for this year.
Yeah, I can relate. My truck had an oil leak, and from the mechanic I go to here, he's a former Toyota tech, worked for Toyota for many years, and now runs his own shop. And so when I first brought it to him a couple years back, I mean, it had a little tiny seepage, and he was like, "Don't worry about it. It's really tiny." You know what I mean? Sometimes these things, they leak a little bit, and it's not a big deal. But just over time and the abuse, again, like you know, and I abused the hell out of her. So, not promoting abuse of women, but if it's a Toyota, that's a little bit different. But yeah, I run the heck out of her, and she just decided that she wanted to get worse and worse. And so just this last year, I spent like $3,000 having it ripped apart, and it was like, well, there goes some fun money, but I think it's worth it because in the end, if she has 200 and I think she's about 230,000 miles, and we did that about 5,000 miles ago. So at 225, that's a pretty good run without any major engine issues. Like
Exactly.
that's a pretty good run. I mean, that's 15 years, and my mechanic is like, "Dude, you're gonna get another 10 or 15 years out of her, no problem." I was like, "It's worth it. Let me drop this money. It's worth it."
Yeah, and you're not driving your truck like just on the street, just like an average person. You're out there. It's your hobby. It's a toy, and also you're like daily. So it's like they get a lot of miles. They get a lot of hard miles, and they just keep running.
Yeah.
Yep.
Workhorse. That's what my dude Patrick, he says, this truck is a workhorse, dude. So yeah. Was there anything else you might want to talk about?
We have a couple more events coming up. So we got Idaho Overland Experience, May 20th through the 22nd. We're actually going to be a vendor at that one. This is the second year for IOX, and this year is going to be amazing. They got a lot more vendors out there this year. The only downfall is it's the same weekend as Overland Expo in Arizona now.
What weekend is that?
It's May 20th through the 22nd. So Overland Expo in Arizona now moved back to May now that COVID's all over and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a little disappointed because I had, said yes to being a vendor at IOX. I'm like, great, now I'm going to miss Overland Expo, but that's okay.
It's
because
a flag, right? Flagstaff? Yeah, that's right.
Yep. But they just announced, Overland Expo announced Pacific Northwest, which is going to be in Redmond, Oregon this year. So we will be at the Overland Expo Pacific Northwest in Redmond.
So do you know if the Arizona chapter, is the Arizona chapter, do they come up to see you guys in Oregon at that big event, or will you guys have two separate groups, two separate chapters, one doing like an Overland Expo and one doing the event in Oregon, right?
Yeah. So IOX is in Idaho.
Idaho, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
So I will be at the Idaho one, and then Michelle with Arizona, it sounds like they are teaming up with one of our sponsors, Gear America. They're going to be set up at their booth at Overland Expo.
Okay. That's pretty cool, actually, that's pretty cool then having the different chapters, because then you can be in two places at the same time. Superposition. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So like this weekend, our Louisiana ambassador got us a table at Lone Star Toyota Jamboree in Texas, which is a huge Toyota event for off-roading. I was sad because I wasn't going to be able to make it out there, and last minute we made it work. So I am flying out there.
You guys are gonna just, I mean, 20,000 followers now. I mean, this thing is not gonna stop. I feel like this
No.
is not gonna stop for you, and I
Mm-mm.
wonder. I know you don't want it to be this money thing, but I just wonder sometimes when we do the thing we love, it turns into the thing that we do, you know?
And the last year I have felt like I have let the group down because I can't commit to it because I work full time.
Right.
There's certain events that I want us to be there. We can use that exposure. We've been invited, but I have to turn it down because of my work schedule.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So what I'm doing right now is I'll get off work on a Friday night. I'll go straight to SeaTac. I'll take the last flight out of SeaTac to wherever I'm going. Saturday we'll have an event. Sunday night I'm leaving, like say Texas. I'll be leaving Texas late Sunday night, getting back into Washington Sunday night, turning around and going back to work on Monday.
Oh my God.
So there's no break.
Dedication. For the
Yeah.
love, for the love.
Yep.
That's for the love.
So this is now my busy season. Usually October through March is dead for me, and now it's starting to pick up because the weather's getting nicer.
Right. So you said SeaTac. I don't want you to have to blast out where you live, but I am familiar with a little bit of Washington State myself. I am familiar with SeaTac. I know what SeaTac means. I spent
Yep.
some time. I was in the Navy, so I spent some time
Okay.
in Bremerton and dry
Yep.
dock there at the shipyard. And we used to take the ferry from Bremerton up into Seattle all the time. So
That's a fun ferry ride for a good hour and a half.
exactly, and we used to play spades, or I think we would play spades all the time. And I'll
Yep.
never forget during that time I was 20, and so I think I might have borrowed somebody's ID who looked like me so that I could get into the bars in Seattle and the gas lamp district, and that was a lot of fun back then, man. Seattle's a fun place to be.
Yeah. So my mom is a retired coastie.
Oh.
But she was born and raised in Washington. So we were stationed in Seattle for most of her career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shallow water patrol. No, you tell her I said thank you for her service. My good friend Scott, his dad is retired coastie as well, and actually on one of the deployments I did, the Western Pacific cruises, we had a Coast Guard cutter join our battle group and went on the deployment with us, and they were squared away. Like, they were squared away, and they earned a lot of respect from us. Not that they have to. We like to pick on them just because, they're the shallow water guys. But,
Yep.
yeah, they were squared away. So, mad respect for the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Everybody that's protecting our country is amazing.
100%.
So kind of going back to your events, how do people find out about your events? Do you guys post on social media, or do you kind of have like an event calendar on ladyownedtoyotas.com?
So right now, a lot of the events are on the private Facebook group. I'm trying my best to keep the private or the public page on Facebook up to date, and then I'm really working on the website.
So are you the only one running all of the social media pages?
I am not. I finally had somebody take over Instagram for me. I deal with the inbox and the story feed, but she'll actually do the featured photos every day for me. And then we have an admin team who does an amazing job on the Facebook group. If I am needed while I'm at work, they'll tag me in our chat and say, Jamie, we need you to look at this. But for the most part, the admin team is on top of everything.
And are these all volunteers?
Yes.
So awesome.
Yep. So the admin team is basically my seasoned ambassadors who have been with the group basically since day one.
Okay.
I don't ask a lot, but I won't put up with drama. I won't put up with BS. I won't put up with people putting each other down or just being rude.
Right.
And the admin team knows that, and we stick to it, and people get upset, but it's just like your negativity is not needed in this group.
I actually like that. I think that's a really good philosophy, and I think that's really good. I think a lot of times people get away with a lot of shit and they aren't held accountable, you know? I think that's important, you know?
Yeah, and it's real easy for what they call like the keyboard warriors, where you're not facing a human being, so you know, like you feel like there's zero consequences, and it can get out of control. So it's like you really do have to nip it in the bud, and you really need those, you know, ambassadors there to make sure that things, you know, stay nice and stay on the up and up.
Yep.
Very nice. That's awesome. So how do people find out about your events if you're not a part of, you know, let's say the private Facebook groups? Would it be just word of mouth right now?
It's word of mouth, and we try our best to post on Instagram as well. So my biggest suggestion is to get with the ambassador in your area.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you want them to join those Facebook groups, right? Like if you're coming out to events, you should kind of be involved in like the community a little bit and see what's going on and contribute a little bit. So yeah, that would definitely be good. So if you guys are interested in these events, you know, go join that Facebook group. Is there links on your webpage to all your social media accounts?
Yes, there is. Yep.
Okay.
Another thing is, don't be shy to come out. Like, put your foot out there. Let me tell you, you're going to have the best time when you come out. We are such a welcoming group. It's funny how many times I get told by members that they didn't come out to an event because they were too scared, but then they did, and they had the best time ever.
Yeah.
And I've met so many women that have came out of their shell, who were extremely shy and put back, and then they come out and they're just this whole new person. Their confidence is out there. They have so many friends. They're social now.
It's so
good. Yeah.
It's so awesome what off-roading can do too. If
Yep.
even if it can be some simple stuff, you know, some easier dirt roads. People get intimidated by that, you know. Once you figure out, hey, I bought this truck and I feel like I want to go and do some off-roading and I'm just not sure. And then you get out there and you realize, holy shit, I can do this, you know? And then the next thing you know, you're going up some big ass hill and you're like, holy shit, me and the truck can do this. And then the next thing you know, you're like, fucking, I need some tires and I need a bumper and holy shit, now I'm going over these rocks. And I don't know, it's just talk about confidence and the ability. And then I also noticed that once you get back on the road is different. You know, I'm like, this I know how to drive on this pavement, you know, differently, better. I know what this truck is capable of, you know, or hey, there's traffic. I see that little bit of dirt over there. Watch this. You know what I mean? And I'm see ya. Like, I don't know. It's just, or one of the things I noticed was, if I'm kind of not paying attention or something and I'm drifting off to the side onto the shoulder, I'm not afraid of the shoulder anymore. I know I can get on that shoulder, get in that dirt and just ease her back on the road. Like I've practiced that when we're out, like running in between trails or whatever. And it's like, there's no problem. You get in the shoulder, come right back. I know what that dirt's going to do under the tires of my truck or even a car. If I get behind the wheel of the minivan, you know what I mean? I just kind of know, hey, I can get into that dirt and get out of that dirt. You know, it's not something to be afraid of. It's pretty awesome.
Yep. It's funny, we create monsters.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%. Totally.
So, you know, I know you're a busy mom. You got a full-time job. You're, you know, trying to support all these social media avenues, shipping out merch, and you're busy, you're traveling, you're hosting events and stuff like that. But what's the next big thing for lady-owned Toyotas? Like, where do you kind of see the next big move being?
Our biggest move is being a vendor at events, these big expos, being invited. So last weekend or the weekend before was More Expo in Missouri. And we had a table there. I wasn't able to be there, but our Missouri and Kansas ambassadors ran the table. And I think that's going to be our biggest move now, is being represented at these big expos, these big events. Toyota knows about us.
Nice.
I've had a couple PR managers from the Midwest reach out to me, mainly because one of our members in Missouri won Best in Show, Overland, and Toyota sponsored it, and she was decked out in lot gear.
Nice.
So that makes me a little nervous that Toyota knows about us. It's almost like a can of worms for me. Like, are they going to come after me? What are they going to do here?
Well,
Yeah.
have they said anything to you?
No, they support us. Like, we have dealerships that pass out our cards. Their salespeople tell people about us.
That's awesome.
I'm good friends with the general manager at the Toyota here in Tacoma. So
that's actually that's awesome.
It's kind of funny because I live in Tacoma, Washington, and I drive a Tacoma.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
SeaTac area.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you guys are huge, and you're only going to get bigger. And I'm very excited for you guys. I'm very happy. I love the philosophy that you guys are living by. Supporting women, just supporting people in general, having a good, solid, clean community, trail cleanups, all that good stuff. And this is just truly, you started something truly amazing.
Thank you.
And I really, really hope that you can even take this further. I'm going to sit back and watch your growth. And anytime we can support you, you let us know. We'll be there 100%.
Absolutely.
Same.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're I feel like we could probably keep going if we wanted to, but I know we all have busy lives and everything, so I think we can call this a wrap. And Jamie, I just wanted to say thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you, to get to know you, and for you to get to know us. And again, I wanted to thank you again for that personal touch on those packages. Please, if there are ladies listening, please reach out and join these groups in your local area. Find out what's going on. Don't be afraid to get out there and put your foot in the gas and get dirty with these girls in your trucks, because those trucks are amazing. You're amazing, and again, just thank you for joining us here.
No, I appreciate you guys reaching out and having me join.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, this is Captain Myrick signing out. Thank you again, Jamie. Everybody, go to Lady Owned Toyotas, all the socials, their website, click on all the stuff. Don't be shy. Go have fun. And like Jamie said, they're a supportive group. They'll help you get out there, and they'll hopefully teach you something, and enjoy yourselves. See you guys.
Bye, guys.